Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going somewhere dark. We're not just looking at a book, we're stepping inside a single human mind as it comes apart. We're going to trace the strange, the terrifying, and honestly, the beautifully written nightmare of Thomas de Quincey's Confessions, a journey deep into the architecture of horror itself. So let's just start right here, in the absolute thick of it, at the bottom of the nightmare. Think about what that feels like. It's not just a bad dream. It's a sensation, this feeling of time just stretching out into an eternity of suffering. And listen to the words he uses. He isn't just seeing these things. He is buried. He is kissed. This is a physical, intimate horror, an inescapable closeness with the monstrous.
So, yeah, how does a person get here? That's the real question of the whole book, isn't it? It forces you to look past the drug and see the person, the life that led him to this point. To even begin to understand an abyss like that, we have to go back, way back. We need to meet the man himself long before the opium, long before the nightmares really took root. So here we go. Our story begins not with an addict, not where you'd expect, but with this incredibly brilliant, proud, and, very lonely young man, a scholar, on the run from a world he feels is beneath him.
I mean, this kid wasn't just smart. He was a prodigy. We're talking master of Greek and Latin at 17 years old. But, and this is the big but, his genius came with this almost fatal flaw, his pride. He just could not stand being treated like a schoolboy. He couldn't handle his teachers, who he saw as intellectual lightweights. And this pride, this absolute refusal to bend his will to anyone else's, meant a collision with authority was, well, inevitable.
So, refusing to submit, what does he do? He plots his escape, and it's this perfect mix of, high-stakes drama and total comedy. Picture this. He gives this super serious, silent goodbye to his headmaster, who he kind of pities, but then the actual escape is a mess. He's tiptoeing out while a servant is struggling with his trunk, a trunk filled with so many books that it comes crashing down the stairs with the noise of 20 devils. It's almost too perfect, right? He's literally comically weighed down by his own intellect.
He's free. He's escaped. He's heading for this glorious life of the mind he's always imagined. Except, that's not what he finds, not even close. He finds himself in a totally different kind of prison, a much more brutal one. The cold, starving streets of London.
And look, we're not talking about some romantic, starving artist kind of poverty here. This is real foundational trauma. We're talking about sleeping on the floor of an abandoned mansion with this little kid he finds just to stay warm. We're talking about actual starvation. He actually says later that this suffering, this exhaustion, it was like it plowed the fields of his mind, getting it ready for the nightmares that opium was about to plant there.
But even in this total darkness, there is one little flicker of light. A young woman, a prostitute named Anne. For him, she becomes this beacon of pure, selfless kindness in a world that had completely thrown him away. And this isn't a love story, not in the way we think of it. It's something much deeper, much more desperate than that.
It all comes down to this one moment. He literally collapses from hunger. He's about to die. And Anne, who has nothing, scrapes together what little money she has to buy him some spiced wine. And that phrase he uses, instantaneous power of restoration, it's so important. It's this beautiful moment of human grace, but it's also a chilling foreshadowing, isn't it? He's looking for that instant fix, that immediate salvation. Right now, he gets it from another person. Pretty soon, he's going to be looking for it in a vial.
All right, so let's jump forward a bit. De Quincey makes it out of London, he's back with his family, and things seem okay. For a little while anyway. Before everything goes completely off the rails, he finds this little pocket of peace, a kind of false paradise, a scholar's dream.
And he describes it so perfectly, you can almost feel it. You know, the cozy little cottage, a fire going, tea, thousands of books, and a big storm just raging outside. It's the perfect picture of safety, right? The storm is out there, but he's in here, safe and warm. I want you to remember this feeling. This is the before. This is the paradise he's about to lose forever.
And then, this, the turn. The point of no return. He just comes right out and says it. Farewell to happiness. All that warmth, all that safety we just talked about, gone. Because a new storm is coming. And this one isn't raging outside the cottage walls. It's breaking inside his own head.
And this is where things get really, really dark. The opium, which started as this helpful thing, a relief from pain, it's not a servant anymore. Now, it's the master. It's a tyrant. And his dreams, well,
They become a prison where the basic rules of reality, of space, of time, just don't apply anymore.
See, the real horror here isn't just, monsters under the bed. It's that the very fabric of his reality is being torn apart. Imagine the room you're in right now suddenly swelling to the size of a galaxy. Imagine a single second stretching out to feel like 1,000 years of suffering. That's what's happening to him every single night. His mind is just a stage for these endless, miserable pageants and impossible, soul-crushing buildings. And get this is a perfect example of how his brain was wired. These architectural nightmares were inspired by a series of etchings by an artist named Piranesi. But here's the crazy part. Quincey never even saw them. He just heard someone else describe them, and that was enough. His imagination took that description and built these impossible, endless, oppressive prisons in his own mind.
So his dreams start to take on this epic, mythological scale. He's not just some guy having a nightmare anymore. No, he's the main character in some ancient, terrible story. He's being hunted by gods. He's being sacrificed on altars. And there it is again, that feeling of being buried for 1,000 years. The horror isn't just personal anymore. It feels ancient and cosmic.
He calls it his Iliad of woes. And just like any epic story, within all the huge cosmic horror, there are these very specific, very personal tortures that just keep coming back, night after night after night. And for some reason, one creature in particular becomes the focus of all this terror. The crocodile. I mean, why a crocodile? Who knows? Maybe it's how ancient and alien they seem. But the real terror isn't just the monster. It's that phrase, "I was compelled to live with him." It's not a fight. It's a forced companionship. He's stuck with this monster, living with it for centuries. And this is where the nightmare really spills over into reality. Think about it. The worst part isn't falling asleep, it's waking up. Imagine waking up from that, from the crocodile, from what he calls unutterable monsters, and the first thing you see are the faces of your own innocent children. The contrast is so violent, so jarring. He says all he could do was weep. The most beautiful things in his life become painful because they remind him of the ugliness he can't escape.
But maybe the cruelest twist of the knife is this one. Anne. Remember Anne? The one good thing from his time in London. The girl who saved his life. 17 years later, he finally sees her again, in a dream. And he's so relieved. He calls out to her, "So then, I have found you at last." And she just looks at him and doesn't say a single word. The one pure, kind memory he has is twisted by his own mind into this silent, heartbreaking ghost, a vision of unreachable loss.
So, where does this all end? If you're looking for a happy ending, a simple story of recovery, you're not going to find it here. The conclusion is, well, it's something else entirely. Something much, much more chilling. This is it. This is the sound of a man at his absolute breaking point. He makes the only choice that seems rational. I will sleep no more. He tries to just refuse to sleep, to deny his mind the chance to torture him. It's this last desperate act of rebellion against himself. But it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't. He tries to cut back on the opium, but it's too late. The damage is done. There's no clean break, no real escape. The legions of his nightmares aren't gone. They're just waiting. His life isn't peaceful now. It's a permanent siege. The wall between his dreams and his waking life has crumbled, and now the dreadful faces can just walk right through into the daylight. And that's the final, terrifying question he leaves us with. Because his story isn't just a cautionary tale about a drug, is it? It's about the terrifying power of our own minds. To build heavens, sure, but also to build hells. Hells so complete, so inescapable, that waking up is no longer an escape.